We're going to start by getting into the Mr. Circuit Lab manual. First thing we want to do is make sure that we are on the correct lab in the manual. Looking through the Mr. Circuit Lab manual, we should be able to identify lab number 8 is going to be on page 22 of the manual. So once you've gotten into page 22, take a quick read through the first couple paragraphs here that go along with the transistor switch lab on page 22. And then we're going to be looking at building the transistor lab circuit that's located on page 23. First, let's identify a couple of the parts here that we're going to need. We're going to need a red LED, a new component we're not familiar with yet called a 2N3904 transistor, a 100 ohm resistor, a 1000 ohm resistor, battery snap, 2 pieces of jump wire, and our breadboard. So now let's go into TinkerCad and see how we build this thing. Back in TinkerCad, we want to make sure that we sign in to our Google account. Once in TinkerCad, we want to make sure that we have circuits selected, and then we create a new circuit. Now I'm going to bring in the components I need for this lab. I always like to start with the breadboard. Gives me kind of a general size for the space I want to work with. Then I'm going to bring in my LED. Follow that up with the components I'm familiar with, so I'll bring in my resistors. One needs to be a 100 ohm resistor, and the other one needs to be a 1000 ohm resistor. Remember, they're default to 1000, so I don't have to edit the second one. Back in my Mr. Circuit Lab manual, I'm just going to check here to make sure that I also need a battery, 2 pieces of jump wire, and then my transistor. So I'm going to grab my 9-volt battery. Now I want to find that transistor, so I start typing in that word. There's transistor right there. Now, there are 2 types of transistors. You have what's called an NPN transistor, and then you have what's called a PNP transistor. One is known as the 3904, and the other is known as the 3906. What we should probably do is look at the 2N. This, in the identifier for the transistor in the parts list, the 2N stands for NPN. If it was a 1N, it would be a PNP. Okay, so if there's 2 N's in the description, that's your 2N transistor. That's the 3904. I can identify that this is the NPN transistor, this is the 3904. So this is the one we want to bring in. The other thing I got to be really careful about is there are 3 leads on a transistor: the collector, the base, and the emitter. I want to make sure that those line up with the collector, base, and emitter on the transistor in the picture. So as long as the flat side is facing towards me when I put this into the board, we should be in good shape. Let's start the assembly here. The negative lead of the battery is going to go into the 3rd row, 3rd column. So that one's pretty simple. I'm going to bring my battery over to this side and rotate it because that's where they have the battery snap in the picture. And I'm going to put my negative lead for my battery in the 3rd row, 3rd column, change that wire to black. Positive lead for my battery is going to go in the 4th row, and now we're over 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 rows over. Or sorry, 14 columns over. 4th row, 14th column. If I connect my red, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And I'm going to make sure that I change this to red. Now I got my battery in place. The next thing I'm going to do here is put in my resistors. My R1 is going to go in the same row as the red battery snap, and then it's going to move back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows to our left. So that's going to go in the very top row, connecting to the battery snap and over to 5 rows from there. So since it doesn't line up that way, I'm going to connect here, and then I'm going to connect here. Good. Our next resistor is going to be R2, and that's going to go down in the bottom. That's going to be in the same column as the second terminal of our resistor 1, and then it's going to jump down to the lower half of the board in the same column. So I'm going to rotate this guy. It's already rotated, so we're good. I'm going to go in here and down to here. That actually spaces out well for us. Then I'm going to have my LED with the cathode side of the LED 5 rows over, 5 columns over, 2nd row. So I want my short leg, 5 columns over, 2nd row. So I'm going to connect these with wires. 2nd row, 3, 4, 5 over. The opposite leg of my LED is going to go 6, 7, 8, 9 over in line with my 2 resistors. So now I connect this in line with my other 2 resistors. The transistor says that it goes in the very top row, starting in the 3rd column, 4th column, and then into the 5th column. So as long as the flat side is facing us, I can put this right in place. 3rd, 4th, 5th. And those will all connect to their holes respectively automatically, so I don't need to worry about anything there. Now I need a jump wire to go from the middle leg of the transistor randomly sticking out of the board. Here's what we're going to do for this one. We're not going to add a second random jump wire. We're going to actually connect this jump wire right here into the board. It's basically a temporary connection. However, we don't have the ability, without using a switch, to pull those wires together manually in TinkerCad. So we're just going to close that connection to start with. This should allow us to simulate what's going on with this LED. And if nothing else needs to be added to our circuit, which it doesn't look like it does, we should now be able to go in and start simulation. Boom, there we go. Now we get a little bit of a exclamation point sign up here. And what that's telling us is the amount of current going through that LED. And it says the recommended maximum current is 20 milliamps. We have 32.9 milliamps. So in the reading, if you remember, it said a transistor acts like an amplifier in a switch. That's exactly what's going on here. So that transistor there is really amplifying the circuit well, and we can tell. What I need you to do is take a simple screenshot of this picture right here. You don't have to actually have the bubble highlighted. If you did, that's fine. If you don't, no problem, that's fine as well. Get your screenshot, attach it to the Word document or the Google document in Google Classroom. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more videos. We'll be coming out with a whole bunch more here this week. So thanks, guys, for watching, and good luck with the circuit. So that transistor there is really amplifying the circuit well, and we can tell. What I need you to do is take a simple screenshot of this picture right here. You don't have to actually have the bubble highlighted. If you did, that's fine. If you don't, no problem, that's fine as well. Get your screenshot, attach it to the Word document or the Google document in Google Classroom. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more videos. We'll be coming out with a whole bunch more here this week. So thanks, guys, for watching, and good luck with the circuit.